What's going on, Tim? We're live.
Dude, I'm hoping I'm alive, man. I'm not dead. Not yet. Not by a long shot. That's all I got to tell you, brother. Not by a long shot. Although, I will tell you, I've come now to doing my O snaps. I'm doing my scratch off tickets, man. I'm like, you know what?
So,
Creativity
to
is
hope you
the
win
key.
$500, Tim, what is that going to do for
No,
you?
to help my clients with their earnest money deposit. They get an O snap for 500, dude. What's a win-win, man? Come on now.
So, if somebody
Huh?
is buying a house and they use a scratch off money for their deposit, is that a
They
problem for a lender?
No, not at all. Not as long as I get a receipt, a 1099, or some kind of proof that they turned it in. And I have done that, man. It's kind of
I'm
wild.
not a participant in the scratch off arena. When you win a scratch off, do you get a 1099?
Yeah, well, it depends. So it all comes down to
How
how
much
much
money
you
it is? Like if it's two,
win.
yeah. So what about
Yeah,
500?
I don't know what the cutoff is. I got to be honest with you.
So I'm
I
going to
think
deposit $500 in cash in my bag. You're going to look at it and say, "Where'd you get the money?" I'm going to say a scratch
oh, I'm
off.
always going to ask that. Yeah,
But
we're
if I
the
don't have a
scratch off.
receipt
Yeah,
for it, then
if you disclose it up front, we put it on the loan application, and you have a history of playing the lottery, which would come on your tax returns. Yeah, yeah. What amount of
okay,
winnings? Yeah, I'm gonna find that out for you, man.
all
Is
right.
taxable? Yes, sir.
I don't think I'm going to have that. So
What do you mean you're gonna think? Come on, man. Come on. There.
I haven't eaten anything other than I haven't eaten any food
Yeah.
since Sunday.
What do you mean? What are you doing? You fasting?
I'm drinking my food.
Well, I tell you what. What are you? So you're doing shakes?
Well, this is it right here. Does that look appetizing?
It looks delicious, dude. I'm serious.
You want to know what this consists of?
It looks like a lot of berry stuff.
The main ingredients are baby spinach, blueberries,
There you go.
and plain Greek yogurt
So
for protein.
what is driving this? What's driving this fast? What's driving this conversion? What are you doing? You
Well,
trying
I'm
to
in a
lose weight or yeah?
I challenged a buddy of mine who was having these back problems, and he was like, "I'm gonna stop eating meat and carbs for a while in order to reduce swelling." And I was like, "Bro, you need to get yourself a Vitamix." I'm using a Blend Tech, so I took the blender to church and I showed him how to do it, and he says, "All right," and I said, "I'll do it with you for a week." So
Yeah.
I haven't chewed on any solid food since Sunday.
So how do you feel?
I feel great.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do it, man. I probably could if you put your
It's
mind
actually
to something. I mean,
delicious. It's actually
is it
delicious.
is it
Yeah.
really good?
Yeah, but the problem is like it's not
Yeah.
satisfying. So if you can imagine, like I was talking to my buddy
I
a
meant
minute
that.
ago, and
Yeah.
he was like in line at Taco Bell, and I was like, dude, I would crush some Taco Bell right now, even though I'm drinking this lunch.
Yeah, I can understand that. It is definitely a challenge. I mean, there's no question about it. But you know, at the same time, I think you nailed it. It's food in, food out, right? It's what you put in your body. Everybody worries about, I don't have any energy. Maybe you're not putting the
Well,
right food.
if I could maintain just drinking spinach, blueberries, and Greek yogurt as my sustenance, I would probably be the healthiest person you've ever met.
That's a hell of a statement, man. I'm serious. That is wicked.
So,
Very
anyway,
cool,
Tim,
man.
what's going on in real
Dude, I
estate
sent you
land?
the November statistics today,
Yeah,
man. I don't know if you got a
November.
chance to take a look at November.
All right.
Yeah,
So that's what I want to talk about is the real estate market for winter, what we expect to see, what we're
sure.
seeing. And we did a podcast last week about the 2024 market. If you didn't see that, make sure you tune in and or go back and watch that video. Some insight on what's going on.
Right.
Spoiler alert: it's going to be kind of the same as last year.
And that's where I think it's gonna be different next year.
It's going to be better, actually,
I think it is. I think for three
but
reasons. I
not
mean,
this is
yeah,
marginally better.
I think it's going to be even better than that. And the reason why is I think sellers are starting to participate in closing up. Sellers are participating in repairs. I think there's a lot more dialogue going back and forth between the parties. I really
Yeah, but
do.
I'm saying like the
Yeah.
number of transactions, like the overall market in general, how easy it is to sell your house and all
It's
that. Like,
still gonna be interesting. I mean,
yeah,
there's no question about it. I mean, you can't get around it. But at the end of the day, you know what? It's still a great time to buy. Now, why would I make that statement? That's my question to you. Why would I say it's a great time to buy? What do you think?
because of our ongoing conversation around home ownership and why, and I came up with another reason, by the way.
Go ahead. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you, man. What you got?
I'll make the argument that even if you're losing money in the short term, because
Okay.
I'd say it's almost impossible to lose money on a home in the long term, but even if you're
Right.
going to lose money in the short term, if you plan on, and this is always the big question, how long you plan on living in an area. If you plan on
Mhm.
living in an area 5 years or more, but especially if it's going to be more than 5 years,
Yeah.
not just financially, but emotionally, it makes sense to buy a house.
I think. I mean, I completely agree with you on that one. There's no question.
Psychologically, I mean, is my answer. Psychologically, it makes sense to buy a house versus renting
Hmm.
because, well, there's a lot of reasons because, but if think about it as you're grounded and you can put roots down and you can build and you have a home base
Okay.
versus if you're renting, even if your landlord is like, hey, I'm going to rent this to you for 10 years, there's always the chance that that could go away.
And
He
the
could
rent's going to
die or
go
she
up
could
too, Brian.
die.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even like I said, even because financially it's cheaper to rent, so it's very
Yep.
hard to make the financial argument that it's cheaper to buy a house right now. It's not cheaper, and even in the short term, like if you bought a house and rented for 2 years, you're better off probably renting. But
Well, okay, so I'm gonna throw something to you. My client, literally, they were in this morning. He and his mom, they
but I'm
came
saying you
in.
can't use the
Yeah.
history. We gotta say
Well,
going forward. Let's assume that the housing market stays flat, like no increase
okay,
in house
but
prices.
here's the thing. They bought the house September of 22, a year and 3 months for 305. Okay. The value in the marketplace right now is 335. They made almost 10. They made
Yeah,
10%.
but that's
They
not
made
that's not
10%.
national. That's not even a regional average. So
No, but I still think you're missing out, man. I think because there is such a severe, okay, you agree with this. There's a severe shortage of housing,
yeah,
right? Okay. There's nothing on the horizon that says that we're going to go above in the housing number. It's going to be net zero, right?
yes.
Builders are building, but they're building like, these $1 million houses. They're not building the inexpensive homes. Brother, come on, man. And rents go up. Rents don't go down, Brian. Rents go up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's like double the amount of a mortgage than it is to rent. So you could make the argument. So, but my point is, psychologically, especially if you
Right?
have a family. If you're
Yeah.
single, I almost would say even I wouldn't even buy a house. If I was single, I wouldn't buy a house.
If I was single, I'd buy a house in a heartbeat and I'd be renting out rooms.
Yeah,
Okay.
no,
House
well,
Act, dude, because you know what? The
well,
wife and the kids don't care about
because if
your
you're single,
roommates.
the whole idea I'm referring to though is just being grounded. So if you're single, you don't know you're going to maybe get
Right.
remarried, you're going to
Okay.
relocate. You need
Yeah.
to be able to get up and go. If you buy a house, you're looking at a long-term commitment. But I'm talking about like ask any kids if they want to move and sell their house. No matter
Oh,
what, they all say no. Now, if you take them to a house that has like 4 jet skis parked out front
yeah.
and a pool in the backyard, they're going to want to move. But if it was a lateral move, they wouldn't want to do it. Like psychologically, people love the idea of
Yeah.
having a base and a
Yeah.
grounding and a place that they can call home and they can
Right.
build on. Like you can improve it. You can add a deck on the back or build a shed or, do some landscaping
Yep.
and invest in yourself. And you can't do that as a renter. But let's talk about this winter market real quick. What happened in November?
So, dude, I sent you the November stats again. Another mind-blowing number, and this really kind of it shows units are down 9%. We would think units are down. Prices are going to go down.
Units are down, meaning what? The number of houses that
Number
sold
of
in
houses
November
sold in November
2023
versus
is
22.
9% fewer than the houses that sold in November 2022.
Yeah, in
Wow, that's
fact,
a
we
lot.
we actually closed below 5,000 units. You got to remember,
And
3 years ago we
what
were doing
area are you
10,000 a
referring
month.
to?
Huh?
What area are you referring to?
State of Maryland.
Okay. So
Yeah.
the entire state of Maryland is down 9% year
Yep.
over year.
Correct. Correct.
Wow, that's
Now,
not good.
now pick a county. Pick any county you want. I'll tell you what the
Let's
stats
do
are down.
Calvert, where I live.
Calvert down 13.8%. Dude, you see the
What about
numbers.
where you're
But
sitting right in
here's the
Charles?
key, Brian. Again, The inventory is not going to change for 7 to 10 years.
Well,
Okay.
let's preface. Let's expand on that
Hmm.
just a second.
Okay.
So it's down 13% from 2022, but I bet you last year was down 10, 20, 30% from 2021. So you really don't want to compare this year to last year. You want to compare it to 2 years ago.
So if we want to go back 2 years and we want to say what did November of 22 look like in
Yep.
comparison to November of
21.
21? 22, you ready for this one?
Yeah.
November 22 compared to November 21, down 40%.
Yeah. There you go. So that's what I'm saying. It's like a 50. That's like a 50%
Massive.
from 2 years
Massive.
ago. We're down 50%, and you're
Yeah.
talking that what? This whole state of Maryland?
State of Maryland. So we went from 8,700 units to 5,200 units in 2022 to 2021. Now check it out. 2021 to 2020, down 3.
Yeah.
So you can see things have definitely changed, man. It is definitely a changing marketplace. But back to the story, what does this project? Projects 3 things. Number one, okay, it's still going to be a great time to buy because values are going to continue going up due to the lack of inventory in the marketplace. That's the number one factor. Okay. Number two, you can have pretty solid confidence if you hold your house long term.
Yeah.
Heard that word. The value is going to continue going up. And number three, in my opinion, it's going to be a good time because I think sellers and buyers are going to start having some communication. They're going to start talking again between the parties and
Yeah.
make some decisions. I really think that's the case.
But let's talk about some of the challenges, right? So one of the challenges is trying to find a house right now. Like it before, the challenge was trying to fist fight 42 people to buy a home.
Sure.
Now the challenge is actually finding
Just finding
one.
the
Let's say,
home.
for instance,
Yeah.
you want to find a really nice house in a nice neighborhood, and you have like this very specific area in mind.
Yeah.
50% fewer houses selling than 2 years ago. It's much harder to find a home. Just straight up, like I want to live in.
So how do you compete for that, Brian? How do you
compete? It's just a matter of like I want to buy a home in whatever neighborhood, and there's none for sale. Like there's 50% fewer, and then during the winter time,
Sure.
statistically, there's 50% fewer houses sell in February
Exactly
than
right.
do in June.
Exactly
So then
right.
we're taking 50% of the market's 50% slower.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like in the number of houses that are available is so low. So I'm meeting a lady on Friday, and
Okay.
she said to me, I need to get out of this house because
Motivated seller, love it. Love
I
it.
have
Yeah.
knee problems and back problems, and I can't go up and down the stairs anymore. I need a Rambler. I said, okay,
Mm.
what's the problem? What's the holdup? She's like, well, I don't want to have to deal with all the like not having anywhere to live and not finding a house. Like if I sell my house, what if I don't find a house? I said, well, that's a serious
It's
challenge.
not a problem anymore because you can use
Tim, it's not
you
a
can
problem
use a
anymore is
buy
pretty
now.
blanket
No.
statement.
You can use a buy now, sell later program. You know about that
Touche,
program.
my friend.
Cash
Touche.
the keys. Cash the
Touche.
keys
Touche.
allows
Make
you to
sure
buy
you
a house up front.
Follow up with me after this video, by the way, Tim.
This
'cause I
is
got
very
this
important.
meeting. I gotta
You can
bring
do a
this up.
buy now, sell later where you can actually buy the home now and you have up to 6 months to sell your house.
Let's say
Fine.
you don't know Tim Murphy,
Win-win.
and you're some average schmucko real estate agent or whatever, and you don't have that option. It is a challenge because it's like
Okay, I agree.
she
But
wants to
yeah.
live in a very specific neighborhood, and she wants a Rambler. There's only like 50 or 60 of them, and if one of them is not for sale,
Sure.
at the same exact time that we're selling hers,
Right.
that's going to be like of all the things that are going to be a challenge, that's the biggest challenge.
It is. Unless you're creative in the way you approach it.
Yeah,
Brian.
unless you
And
got
that's
Tim
what it comes
Murphy.
down.
But if you don't have Tim Murphy, then you're in a bit of a pickle. Okay, and
So
that's
again, if you don't have what? Say it
Tim
again.
Murphy.
Oh yeah! Ching! Ah yeah, brother.
That's what I'm saying.
But my point is, I think it's still going to be a good year to buy and a good year to sell. And I think we're starting to see the turn because I think 25 is going to be amazing, but you got to be in position in 24.
What's going to make 25 amazing?
The rates are going to be phenomenal, Brian. Rates are going to come down. More people are going to get off the stick. More people are going to sell their homes. You're going to see a lot of folks ready to retire. Social Security has reached that special place, if you will, for somebody to be able to retire. The older, the baby boomers are going to ready to commit because 2025 is a turning point in the baby boomer sales. Brian, it's like the trifecta. You know when you bet on a horse race and you win $2 or $4,
And
you
you
hit the
see Tim counting
trifecta.
his money right now. Look at him. He's like,
Oh, you
yeah,
know,
come on,
dude.
baby.
I'm like, how many accounts do we need, Brian? Come on. No, but I think there's gonna be a lot of opportunity for buyers and sellers to be able to get out in the marketplace with more of an even keel, even playing field, and,
Well,
and
let me
that's what
ask
we
you this
want.
then. So we're 50% down over 2 years ago. Are you seeing that trend going to continue through December, January, February, and March, which is
So I personally think that December and January are going to be challenging months, but come February,
so what's going
all
to
bets
make
are
them
off, man.
challenging?
Well, I think two reasons. I think we're going to get through. I think the Feds are finally going to announce that we're in a recession. People are going to be looking at where they're at. I think with the weather. I hate to say this, but the weather is going to have some impact because it's supposed to be a tough winter, and
Okay.
that always plays a part. But I think coming out of that, people are going to say, I can't stand living in this little tiny condo anymore, this apartment or this little house. I'm going to call the Brian and get myself hooked up
So
and
if you're
make the
well,
sale.
let's talk specifically this winter. If you're a buyer, let's start with a buyer. What
Yeah.
is your prediction for trying to buy a house winter 2023
Here's what I can
through
tell you, Brian.
2024?
You know when the market is getting good, when the state of Maryland, and you guys can all go to the Maryland Mortgage Program, go to their First Advantage site. Okay, the rate today
When you
is
say the
it's
market's getting good, what do you mean by that?
because look, they're getting more competitive. The state of Maryland just came out and announced a 6 1/8 rate at 0 points. That's the state of Maryland, dude. That's a phenomenal program. Maryland Mortgage Program, First Advantage. Take a look at it. I don't want to quote rates and get in trouble, but my point is, you can see what's happening. Rates are getting more competitive. Rates are coming down. Sellers are getting more reasonable. I think you're going to see a lot of wholesale prices. I was on the phone this morning with a
What's a
abstract.
wholesale price?
So I'm on the phone with an abstractor this morning, and the abstractor is somebody who does research and pulls up the sales. And I said, "What are you seeing?" She said, "Tim, they finally are releasing the foreclosures."
Yeah, that's the
And an
thing.
abstractor goes in and checks to see how the chain of title has conveyed.
Well,
Okay.
let's set a little bit of an expectation here because I've heard everybody saying, "Oh, the foreclosures are coming. The foreclosures are coming." Here's how I would describe the foreclosures coming.
Yeah.
As of the past 3 or 4 years, you've had almost that many opportunities to buy one of these cruddy mold-filled houses
Opportunities,
as
Brian.
a
They're
foreclosure. And the
opportunities.
thing
Yeah.
is, like a lot of these banks
Yes.
for the longest time
Yeah.
started doing a mini flip where they would go in and remediate the mold. They would put in new carpet and paint.
Well, they would rent it. They rent it over 5 to 10 years. I mean, let's
Well,
face it.
what I'm saying is that the number of these is still at an all-time low. Like
Well, but
people keep
here's the
thinking.
change. So
Now
let
I
me
know
throw
what
the
you mean.
yeah.
They did away with the forbearance and they're allowing people to get
But there's something
foreclosed
more
on.
important.
And there will be some, but I don't want to set the expectation that it's like, oh, now's the flood of foreclosures. It's not going to be a flood. It's going to be a trickle. Whereas right now you got the faucet is off.
Yeah.
You will see a trickle. Depending on how you interpret a trickle, might be a small drip.
I think the faucet's going to be turned on even more. Now, let me tell you, first of all, remember these are wholesale homes, which means that they do need some tender loving care. They may have mold, they may need some repairs,
Yeah.
they may need windows, doors, whatever, roof, doesn't matter. But here's the key, Brian. Interest rates went so high, right? Okay, it's number one. The banks are suffering financially, number
Yeah.
two. The banks have these houses on their books. And what can the banks do? They can sell the houses for a profit, balance out their balance sheet, recapitalize the sale of the homes. And Brian, it's a win-win. The timing could not be better.
All right. So
So we will see more.
as a buyer, you might see some foreclosures coming up. That's one
Correct.
thing.
Yes, sir.
I think it's going to be hard to find a home. Period. I don't know. I
It
don't
depends.
work
It
with a
depends
ton
how
of
aggressive
buyers,
you
Tim.
are.
You only
Yeah,
work with buyers,
I
obviously.
do.
So we're kind of on the different side of the spectrum. Let me ask you this: what are you seeing as far as offers? Are you seeing like
So
knocking
we're
down the
making
price, or still multiple
no.
offers?
So we're seeing some multiple offers, but believe it or not, there is a new strategic way of doing it, Brian. And this is where people are winning.
You call
Huh?
Tim and Brian. That's how you win.
That's exactly right, brother. You know it. But no, what we're doing is we're actually getting the loan fully underwritten and fully approved. Now, this is kind of wild. So that when you make an offer, we can close in 2 weeks.
Yes,
That's huge.
That's a great advantage, of
That's a
course.
huge advantage.
But what I mean is, like, as a general buyer, assuming you're not working with the A team, and you're just out here buying a house in Maryland, what do you expect to see? Do you get like, back
I
in the
think they were
day,
giving
here's how it used to
multiple
work.
offers, and you need to have your cash in hand. You need to
So
know
you're
the
seeing
program you're
multiple
working with.
offers, is what you're saying. Then.
Still, yeah. Let's just face it, 600 and less, Brian.
Yeah.
You go above 600, it's a little wonky. You know what I mean?
That's so tough, man, because it's like there's not a lot out there. Then you still got to deal with multiple offers. I feel
But-
like if I was a buyer, I would, I feel confident buying a house as a realtor here, but I feel like, back in the day, prior to 2018,
Sure.
you used to be able to shop around for a couple weeks, and when you got done, the
Couple
house that
hours.
you really liked was still on the market. You could
Yeah.
go look at houses for 3 weeks, go back to that one house you just loved and you wanted to make sure it was the right one, and still
yeah.
buy it. And it was just
Oh, yeah.
you and the seller working
Yep.
it out.
Yep.
You don't have that. It's like you still
No, you have
to
a
be
couple
ready
hours.
to
You
make
don't have a
that
couple.
decision.
You don't have a couple weeks. You have a couple
Hours.
hours. Yeah.
Hours.
It's crazy, Brian. There's no question about that.
That's tough, man. All right, so
But-
it's tough to be a buyer because there's not going to be a ton of Tim is the perpetual glass is half full man.
Dude, man, the glass has more opportunity in it. You and I both know that, man. Come on, it's a win-win.
Sure. All right, how about home sellers?
I
Is
think
it
from
still just easy.
still a
peasy,
great
lemon
time
squeezy?
because now here's the reason why. Okay, look, the federal government, you heard me say that right, believes in the home prices and the stability of our marketplace. How can I say that?
appraisals are coming back at value,
And
they're funding the loans, and they're making more loans available, and they're
they just raised the loan limits to $1,149,000 for Brian, an
Yeah.
FHA loan, dude.
What's it in St. Mary's County?
St. Mary's County is
354,000.
498,000.
498. Wow.
Dude, that's all
It was
from where it
350
was.
forever, man. It was
Yeah,
like,
that's
you
my
gotta be
point.
kidding me.
So the federal government believes in the values are still going to go up. Okay. You've got conventional conforming going up in the high cost areas. In regular areas, it's going to be 766,000. Brian, this is a win-win for everybody, man. It really is. And so the government believes in values, and they're demonstrating that by looking to see how they have set the bar even higher because they know it's needed. Right?
I guess.
This is a win-win, Brian. It's a win-win. So the government is reaching out saying, Brian, we want to help you. Come on, man. Come on. We're going to help you there, brother. Come on board.
So they're greasing the wheel.
Yeah, they're making it happen for people. So what do I think is going to be happening in 24? It's going to be a solid year, man. We're going to see some real change. And I think it's going to be a better marketplace. It's going to be better balance, better focus. Dude, it's going to be awesome. And those that buy in 24 are going to do super reward in 25.
All right.
Because when the rates go down, what happens to values?
They're going to go up, probably.
So you bought a house in 24, you
Yeah.
paid $450, you did it with the B-Man, Brian got Mr. BrianSoldIt.com, turned around, here it is, a year later, and he calls you up and says, Brian, I just looked at refinancing and my house went up 10%. Come on. Who else is making you 10% on your money? Nobody.
You're probably right. All right, Tim. So that's it for buyers and sellers. Let's take just a moment to discuss our business, our world, lenders and realtors.
It's going to be amazing for this, but for
So we're talking about 50% slower market, and we're having enormous pressure now
Sure.
on this real estate commission lawsuit thing where people are just absolutely convinced that real estate agents are scam artists. Which
So here's my point, and that is not, you and I both know there are going to be some winners and there's going to be some losers, right?
Yeah.
It's like Kenny Rogers, right? It's the gambler, right?
yeah, but like we could say that in the taxi business in 2005, whenever Uber came along, there weren't winners and losers. It was only losers. Like the no taxi companies were like, "Oh man, we decided to switch everything over to electric cars, and now we're winning." Like there's only losers there.
No, but there's no Uber real estate coming in to take over the existing
You're right.
real
But
estate.
the one thing that happened, for instance, in 2010 was they put all mortgage lenders on a licensing system and they put them on a fixed income.
So and are we still around?
Yeah.
But here's the key: you had to get better. You better sharpen that knife. You better be getting your skills tied up. Brian, this is a win-win. Why is it a win-win? It's real simple. The folks that aren't serious about their industry are going to leave. Whether it's a lender or whether it's a real estate agent, you're going to just have professionals. And that's a home run. How many times have you dealt with a real estate agent where the other side has not been really sharp?
Most of the time. Hold on. So here's the funny thing about this. Like you're looking at this and you're seeing all this rosy glass. I'll tell you, for whatever reason,
awesome.
Man, I don't have any sunglasses in front of me, but I put shades on, bro. Here's the little bit of a
challenge. Because it's going to be so amazing. Come on, tell me it's not.
Let me just say it's not, Tim. Let me just come right out and say I don't think it is. And here's what I'm saying.
All right. What do you
These people, when I say these people in our industry, in order to maintain your license as a real estate agent, it costs you $1,000.
$1,000. Okay, and you make $15,000 on average on a sale of a house. I mean, 3% co-op on half a mil.
Hold on. Here's what I'm saying.
$1,000. That's a good investment.
What I'm saying.
15 to pot.
You're not listening.
Okay.
There's not going to be a flood of realtors getting out of the business, as it always has been. The large majority of real estate agents are going to be onesie, twosie, part-time agents. They're not going away.
They're getting out of the business, Brian. They're
like, getting out of the business.
Too expensive for me to renew my license.
$1,000, Tim. If you don't have $1,000 and you were never in the business,
there you go. And so that's the point.
But I'm saying, Tim, here's what I'm saying. Hold on, man. And I don't know if this is true. I bet you it's true for lenders. What I see is, I should have a visual in front of me, but just imagine a pond that we're all fishing in. Okay. The number of the fish in the pond, half of them died. Mm-hmm. And there's still the same amount of fishermen.
Exactly right. So what do you need to do?
It's a zero-sum game.
No, you learn to fish better.
I'm fishing better, Tim. You're talking to somebody who fishes fantastic.
You are.
I'm not going to die. I'm not getting out of the business. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I'm just saying that, like, my bucket of fish on the shore is not going to have as many fish in it unless I put like 6 fishing rods in the water.
And now you nailed it, Brian.
I'm going to do it, Tim.
You're going to use technology.
My business will grow. I will sell more houses in 2024.
There you go. Okay.
Than I did that's set.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, it doesn't necessarily mean it's absolutely just better, because what I'm saying is the fishing illustration is accurate. These people are not all going to pack up and go home. They're all, and if this lawsuit comes forward and causes buyers agents to go away, or all the fish we catch are smaller because everybody wants some kind of a discount on commissions. Yeah. It's going to make this life of being a realtor less profitable.
Yeah.
Because if there were less fishermen and everything consolidated, you could make that argument. But it's hard to make the argument that doing the same thing, you're going to make more money next year. You probably
I think, honestly, I think you will if you do it right.
No, I think
you're going to be more serious about business.
I'm saying just an average real estate agent.
Okay.
Are you going to make more money next year?
But I don't want to be average, Brian. That's my point.
Tim, we're having a conversation. I'm just saying, on the industry, as far as the industry is concerned, I believe
I have a hard time, man. I get it.
I believe lenders are also in the similar situation. Refis killed all your fish. Y'all had a red tide.
Shit. Yeah. What's a refi, right?
Tim was never a refi guy, so I get it. But I'm saying just the industry was fat on refis, man, and you will get fat again one day. That's one thing that's different about your business and my business is we don't have refis. We can't go back to the same customer and double the commission because they decided they wanted to save money. So,
Yeah.
you guys are just already had your red tide, and now you have the same amount of lenders. I know they're all getting, and it is much harder to stay in
Yeah.
the business as a lender. There are
Dude.
very few
Yeah.
part-time lenders. There are very few lenders who do,
Absolutely right.
one deal every 2 months. Like, I don't know how you just
You
wouldn't.
can't
be
live
able
on
to
that,
survive. You
man.
can't.
Exactly
It's
right.
very expensive to stay a lender, different than it is a real estate agent.
There you go.
So I feel like our business, it will be tougher. Got to reevaluate.
I think it's definitely tougher, but at the same time, it just means we got to sharpen our skills and get better at what we do, Brian. That's all there is to
We're
it,
doing
man.
it right now, Tim. We're doing it as we speak.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm fired up. I think it's going to be a great year. I think 24 is going to be an awesome year.
Let me ask you this:
25 is
on
going to be
a
amazing.
personal level, do you think
Yeah.
you're going to do more loans in 2024?
Yes, tremendously. I am very
Based
fired
on
up.
what?
Based on new strategies that I'm working with. I'm trying to do three things. I'll tell you what I'm doing. I mean, number one, I want every client that can buy a house, honestly, that can really buy today. I want them fully underwritten up front, so that when they're making an offer, it's competitive as shit. We can close in 2 weeks, dude. You know what? That blows a listing agent away. That's amazing.
you're
All I
right.
need is title and appraisal. That's number one. Okay.
Yep.
Number two, I'm looking to increase and to demonstrate with my clients how they increase their conversion rate, which means working with my agents to help them retain more of their leads. I mean, you got 200 leads and you're only closing 20 of them for purchases.
Way less
What
than
happened to the 180?
No, you're closing like 2.
Okay, but do you see what I'm talking about, right? I mean, okay, so double it to 4, right?
Yeah.
And then number 3, I think, quite frankly, values are going to continue going up. Prices are going to continue going up. We're not dealing with a $150,000 sale. All right, when's the last $150,000 sale price you did, right?
Now you're making a good point there. Like,
so average sale price is going to be 450, 500.
yeah,
So my point to you, Brian, is this: I think there's going to be more opportunity than we've ever had in this industry if you sharpen your skills, you stay structured, you stay focused, and you are disciplined. If you're not, you're toast. And that's the word of the day, toast. That's why if you don't
toast, Tim.
if you don't believe in that, you better
Spinach.
get
The word of the day is spinach.
spinach. If not, you need to get some of these, Brian. What are these called? The O
You need to
snap.
get yourself some of that deliciousness.
You need to get some O snaps. What you need to do, man. You know what I mean? Because that's how risky it is. If you're not playing the game, you're playing the lottery. Just telling you.
All right, Tim. Appreciate you, brother.
Brian, always a pleasure, brother. Have a good one, man.